Have you ever wondered that you work the hardest, yet someone else becomes successful? Maybe you arrive at the shop before everyone else and leave the last, yet the results of your work never appear. Maybe you work from morning till night while your colleague works only a few hours, yet you fall behind and he moves far ahead of you. Or maybe, despite exhaustion and lack of sleep, you see others becoming successful with half the effort. This is the story of a young tailor who worked harder than anyone, yet achieved nothing, until one meeting taught him the difference between hard work and wisdom. Work from morning till night. Sweat. Exhaustion. But the result? The same failure, the same disappointment. And then you start wondering, where am I lacking? But the truth is, the problem is not your hard work. The real problem is that most people are not working hard in the right place. In a village lived a young tailor named Alexander. From morning till night, the needles kept moving. Clothes kept getting stitched, but the money was little and the results were disappointing. Then one day, a man from the village noticed his work and shared a secret with him. A secret that completely changed Alexander's life. If you want to know what that secret was, watch this video till the end. In a small valley village, where every household earned their livelihood through hard work, lived a 28-year-old tailor named Alexander. Alexander had a small workshop in the center of the village, where tiny items like threads, needles, and pieces of cloth were scattered everywhere. He was the hardest working person the village had ever seen. Yet despite all his effort, success eluded him. Alexander would wake up before sunrise every morning. He would design his clothes himself, pay attention to every detail of the threads, and stitch every piece personally. New clothes, unique designs, and perfect sewing all came from his hands, but the fruit of his labor brought only a meager income. He would spend the entire day standing in the workshop, often skipping meals and rest. At night, exhausted, he would collapse onto his bed. His wife worriedly said, "Alexander, you're wearing yourself out. You need to do something easier and more effective." But he would shake his head and reply, "Hard work is necessary for success. If I work even harder, one day my dream will surely come true." The villagers looked at him with a mix of amazement and sympathy. "This man works harder than anyone else, yet he doesn't move forward," they would say, shaking their heads. Alexander's dreams were big. He wanted his workshop to be famous in every corner of the village, for people from the city to come and buy his clothes, and for his name to be on everyone's lips. Near the village market, there was a small workshop where Alexander spent all his waking hours. But he had a neighboring tailor, Ethan, who was about the same age and had almost the same experience. The difference was that Ethan worked only 6 hours a day and used modern sewing machines and innovative design techniques. In the evening, he would study, rest, and spend time with his wife. Alexander, confident in the power of hard work, was troubled to see that despite Ethan's shorter working hours, his clothes were in higher demand and his reputation was greater. He thought, if I work even harder, I will succeed too. One day, the village faced a shortage of cotton for clothing. Every tailor struggled to fulfill their orders. Alexander decided that he would sit in his workshop day and night to produce the most clothes. He started at 5 in the morning, skipped lunch, and kept sewing late into the night. But the harder he worked, the more easily Ethan produced more clothes using his machines and new methods. After a few days, Alexander grew weak from exhaustion. The needle slipped from his hand, the thread snapped, and an important order was ruined. Alexander said to himself, "Hard work never fails." But deep inside, he felt that there might be another method or secret he didn't know. This moment was his first shock, but a new lesson was waiting for him. A secret that could turn his hard work into success. Alexander collapsed onto his knees in his workshop, surrounded by threads and pieces of cloth. His breathing was fast and uneven, his heart pounding loudly. He was so exhausted that he could neither speak nor stand up. For a few moments, silence filled the room. He realized that his hard work, the long days and nights spent in the workshop, might not be enough to reach his dream. For the first time, he understood that hard work does not always guarantee success. A few days later, when he finally found the strength to stand again, he went to Ethan's workshop. Ethan opened the door with a smile. "Come in, Alexander. I'm impressed by the intensity of your hard work, but I want to show you something." Alexander was amazed when he saw Ethan's modern workshop tools. Every machine was organized, every thread and cloth was in its place, and the entire work process looked incredibly smooth and efficient. Alexander said humbly, "I work harder than anyone. I spend every moment in my workshop. But why do you achieve better results while working only half the time?" Ethan stayed silent for a moment, then smiled and led him toward the tool room. There were 2 sewing machines placed there, one old, heavy, and dull, the other fast, smooth, and modern. Ethan said, "Alexander, imagine 2 tailors competing to make clothes, and see how sheer hard work alone is not enough. Wisdom and the right method matter just as much." Alexander and Ethan were standing inside the workshop room. Ethan said, "Imagine 2 tailors competing in making clothes. The first tailor, Alexander, keeps sewing continuously for 12 hours without stopping. He believes that more time and more hard work will take him ahead of everyone else. Every thread, every stitch, every piece of cloth is proof of his effort." Ethan handed Alexander an old and dull sewing machine and pointed toward a thick piece of cloth. Alexander started the machine, but it made only a weak stitch on the cloth. He kept trying again and again, but each time his exhaustion increased and his speed became slower. Then Ethan picked up a fast and modern machine, and with just one run, it made a clean and strong stitch on the cloth. After a few more threads and stitches, the cloth was completely finished. Ethan explained, "The second tailor, me, works for 10 hours, but every hour I spend 5 minutes cleaning the machine and fixing the thread. People say, 'You are wasting time, just keep sewing.' But by the end of the day, this method gives me the ability to produce more work and better results." For the first time, Alexander understood that the intensity of hard work alone is not enough. Wisdom, the right technique, and proper time management are also the keys to success. Looking into Alexander's eyes, Ethan said, "You are that first tailor, Alexander. For years you have been working hard, sitting in your workshop day and night, and you keep wondering why your hands are wounded, yet the amount of work you produce never increases." Ethan then took him further inside the workshop and explained 3 principles. First principle, wisdom and systems matter more than raw effort. I don't do every thread and piece of work manually myself. I have installed modern sewing machines and organized systems that make the work easier and more efficient. At the beginning, it required investment, but now it runs almost automatically, and I can even take some time to rest. You struggle repeatedly with effort, while I complete the same task in just a few minutes. Second principle, focus and quality over chaos. I specialize in only a few selected designs and types of fabric. You try to do everything at once, you experiment with 5 different styles, and your focus gets scattered. I create quality, while you work very hard but achieve only average results. Third principle, rest is also part of wisdom. My mind stays fresh every day because I sleep on time, exercise, and take breaks. I make better decisions, solve problems faster, and think of new methods. You are so exhausted that you can't even think clearly. You make mistakes, and then more time gets wasted. Ethan placed his hand on Alexander's shoulder and said, "Alexander, you are not failing because you don't work hard. You fail because you only know how to work hard. You don't yet know wisdom and the right method." Later, Alexander hired a young neighbor to help in the workshop during the busy season and paid him fairly. Now he understood that 1 hour of planning and working wisely is far more effective than 10 hours of directionless hard work. But the biggest difference did not appear only in the workshops. It appeared in his life. For the first time in many years, Alexander spent his evenings peacefully. He sat calmly, looked at his finished clothes, played with his children, and enjoyed moments of laughter. Morning exercise and mental rest gave him new energy. During work, he became more focused and effective than ever before. His friends said in surprise, "Alexander, you spend less time in the workshop, yet your results are better, and you look happier." Alexander smiled and replied, "Work done with wisdom produces more results without exhaustion. A tired mind can never make the right decisions." 6 months later, the new season began. Alexander's workshop, now equipped with modern tools, better planning, and wiser systems, produced more work this season than the previous one. He realized that the balance between hard work and wisdom improves not only work, but life as well. The transformation did not come from working harder, but from better thinking, sharper focus, and smarter planning. Alexander no longer worked 15 hours a day. He worked only 7 hours. But those 7 hours were so focused and efficient that they produced far more results than his previous 15 hours. One evening, Ethan visited the workshop and looked around at the transformed place. He smiled, nodded, and said, "You've learned it, Alexander. Now you are not just a hard worker, you are a smart worker." Alexander shook his hand and replied, "Thank you, Ethan. You showed me that improving something doesn't depend on just one path." In truth, Alexander's story is not only about a clothing workshop or hard work. It is about every person who believes success only comes from exhaustion, endless work, and sacrifice. But real success comes from wisdom, proper planning, and intelligent effort. Our culture often pushes the idea that if you are not tired, you didn't try hard enough. But we forget something important. Hard work is necessary, but hard work alone is not enough. The most successful people in the world do not work the most hours. They work the smartest hours. Alexander's story teaches us 3 powerful principles. First principle: prioritize systems over raw effort. Before starting work, ask yourself, is there a way to reduce effort and increase results? If technology or systems can help, don't insist on doing everything manually. Replace unnecessary hard work with smarter systems. Second principle: don't divide your focus. Don't try to do everything. Choose a few tasks that create the biggest impact and master them. Being excellent at a few things is better than being average at everything. Third principle: rest is part of success. A tired mind makes poor decisions. A fresh mind sees opportunities. Wisdom and rest are just as important as effort. Working fewer hours with focus is better than working long hours without direction. Look at your week. Think about the task that takes the most time. Ask yourself, can it be done in a better way? Can a system be created? Can a tool or another person help? Then spend one afternoon improving the process instead of simply working harder. Alexander learned this lesson, and we should remember it too. We are not machines. We are human beings. Our greatest strength is our mind and intelligence. Hard work matters, but working smart can change your life. If this message inspires you, share it with others, and write in the comments, which task will you start doing more intelligently this week? Remember, wisdom always beats exhaustion. The best work is done when the mind is fresh and focused.